Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is Fix Ourselves or Be Ourselves. And this has been on my mind lately, that our deepest healing isn't about changing who we are. It's about remembering who we are. Even if that part of ourselves has not been center stage for a very long time in our lives, or maybe that part of ourselves never had the opportunity to take center stage. But we all have a divine wholeness within us. And I think sometimes we go through heartbreak or difficult circumstances. We feel this brokenness within us that needs to be fixed. But I like to think about it more that we just need to heal and find our way back home. And this was most important in my life when my husband first left. And as I've talked about before, I was completely devastated. With all the heartbreak, I was so fragile. And I was carrying a quiet, hidden hope that something or someone might come along and fix me. Everything was so foreign to me. How I was going to get through the day, how I was going to afford my life. It was a complete falling apart from the life I knew. And perhaps I was in shock, and I was having a really hard time believing this was my life, even though I knew life had maybe, and even though I had a great relationship with uncertainty, there was this little fantasy I had. And I knew it wasn't entirely rational, but still, every time I went somewhere, met someone new, tried something different, there was like a little whisper in me that this could be the thing that puts my life back together. A new relationship, a financial windfall, a healer that I would meet. In a way, this desire gave me momentum because it kept me moving, but it also kept me grasping because I wasn't doing these things to live. I was doing these things to feel less broken. And again, I understood ideas of trust and surrender and the unknown. But I think sometimes in your life, when you're hurting that much, there's a part of you that even when you know the path, you know the work, you are so uncomfortable and you are so heartbroken that you just want to be rescued. And a few months later, I had this moment. I was going out one night and I caught myself, like when you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror. And it finally caught up to me. I had a very deep spiritual practice, but I was reeling so much from the pain. And then in that moment, I realized I was walking out the door, not with presence, but with the same pattern. Will tonight fix me? Will this be the thing? Will someone say something? Will I have some experience and then I'll feel better? And just seeing it and naming it brought me more back to myself. And that night when I went out, I decided to do something different. I walked slowly and I counted my steps. I turned off my phone and I kept imagining I was emptying myself, not to be filled by someone else, but to become available to whatever life was offering me. That night, I was at my friend's birthday party. I didn't try to impress. I didn't try to overshare. I just allowed the moment to be what it was without me grasping for something. And when I got home, something in me actually felt fuller. It wasn't a fix. Instead, it felt like oxygen going into me, making me feel more myself. And I can't say that I've never had a moment since then of trying to fix myself. But from that night on, I am always aware. Am I fixing myself or am I being myself? And I'm always thinking about showing up for the moment just as I am. And this was one of the biggest shifts I had early on in that experience. Because when you feel like you need to be fixed, you feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel like you're not valuable or you're not lovable. You think you're not smart enough and the people around you know more or know better. And it's not that we don't make mistakes, and it's not that we can't pull ourselves together and have more direction in our lives, have more clarity. But that doesn't mean we need to be fixed. It means we need to be more of who we truly are. And that's really the journey. It's becoming who we already are, finding that inside of us. And there could be so many reasons: how we were brought up, how we learn, experiences we've had, but we come to ourselves when we come to ourselves. And we cannot control the circumstances outside of us. Sure, we can make decisions, but life is always moving and life is always speaking. And it's our job not to get swept away by that. It's not to become more like the outside world. We always have that light and that divineness and that wholeness within. It already exists within from the day we were born. And what a relief to know that there's nothing wrong with us. There never has been anything wrong with us, and there never will be. It's different than our choices. It's different than the outside world. It's the value that we have just because we are here. When I had that realization when my husband left, it was like someone let me off the hook. You mean I don't need to change to make someone love me? I just need to become more of who I truly am. Isn't that amazing? We spend all this time running around doing all these things to fit in. But it's like chasing something that's always in front of us that we can never quite catch. And I remember when he was leaving, he said, I bet when I leave, you'll start taking better care of yourself. I never really understood what that meant. I always ate well. They took care of my spirit. What did that mean? Did that mean I would lose weight? Does that mean I would get facial surgery? What did that mean? And perhaps that's the fix. Maybe that's the thing that causes all the pain, that we try to live up to someone else's expectations. And even if you did everything someone said, you still can't control it because you can't control what they're going to think. But what you can control is living in your wholeness, becoming the full you, the authentic you, knowing who you are, building resilience, not letting fear dictate your decisions, not letting the past hold you back, knowing that uncertainty is your best friend because no one knows what's going to happen next, which means your life is full of potential. And then you come to this grounded presence where you are most powerful, and you take a deep breath and you accept yourself and you love yourself and you value yourself. And in that moment, you will make the right choice. And in that moment, you will expand. And in that moment, you will access all that is possible in your life. And that's a good life. To live in our wholeness is a good life. To not feel bad about who we are is a good life. To not feel less than is a good life. To get up in the morning and say, I am what I am because I am. It is freedom to know that there is nothing wrong with who we are. Sure, we might want to make different life decisions. We might want to take a class. We might want to get a new job, but wherever you go, there you are. These are things on the outside world that you decide to do, but you bring your wholeness wherever you go. So just to sum this up, so you could start thinking about how you could stop wanting to fix yourself and start being yourself. We don't wait for the outside world to complete us. Yes, we dream. Yes, we build. But we remember that's hurting within us. It needs our kindness, our presence, and our attention. Remember to ask, what is this moment offering me? Instead of you thinking you have to fix yourself, think about how you need to hold yourself within the moment, to grow you, to love you right now. Try to let go of the past and the idea that anything in your past makes you unworthy, or that something in the future will save you or redeem you. I always believe that all is possible in the unknown, but right now you are already enough to meet the moment that is in front of you. And lastly, remember you are never broken. Maybe you got detoured, or maybe you lost your way. But the light never left you. Your wholeness never left you. And your job is not to chase your wholeness, fix your wholeness. It's to remember it and shine the light within. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe, A Year Without Men, Maybe Everything's Okay, A Parent's Guide to Less Stress and Worry, you can buy them at all major bookstores and online retailers. If you'd like to buy my Maybe cards or my Maybe digital journal, they're available on Amazon, Etsy, and my Stand store. And most of all, if you like this podcast, I hope you subscribe and leave a comment.